When you have an item or a system that you know contains energy, but you can't physically see that energy being put to use, you could say that the item or system has potential energy. Potential energy is basically just energy that is being stored in an object or a system due to some kind of force as a result of the object's position. For example, when we did the pendulum lab last week, we know that the bob had potential energy when we held it at a certain position, like 5 or 10 degrees, because of the bob's relative distance to the earth, and also because of the force of gravity acting on it, wanting to pull the bob downward. Once we released the bob, that potential energy was transformed into kinetic energy, or the energy of motion. Kinetic energy is energy that you can typically physically see. It's energy that has both velocity and acceleration, and possibly momentum. Another example of potential energy being transformed into kinetic energy where different forces are the key factor would be if I were to eat a bag of chips, for example. The energy that those chips once contained would be transformed into energy that my body could use. Now, if I choose to just sit here perfectly still and not use that energy, it would be stored in my body as potential energy. If I were to go on a run, however, that energy would be transformed into kinetic energy. It would be energy put to use. It would be energy in motion. A third example would be a bow and arrow. When you pull back the string, the force from the string, the work that you use to pull that string back, that force is transferred into your arrow and is held there as potential energy. It doesn't become kinetic energy until you release the string and release the arrow. I'm going to demonstrate this example with a makeshift bow and arrow that I've made at home out of a clothes hanger, some hair ties, some tape, and then for my arrow I'm going to use a pencil. So when I pull the pencil back with the string, the force exerted by the string is transferring energy into the pencil, but because the pencil isn't going anywhere, it's not doing anything, it's not using that energy, it's simply stored as potential energy. It has the potential to do something. Once I release the string, oops, that didn't work, hang on. Once I release the string, that potential energy is then transformed into kinetic energy, or energy of motion, because the pencil now has both velocity, horizontal velocity and vertical velocity. It's moving at a constant speed and direction both horizontally, constant speed and direction horizontally, and it is at an accelerating velocity moving vertically, which we learned in our lessons earlier this week.